I think for me, you have to balance that contentment and that acceptance and that gratitude of what we have and what you could have sometimes with the pursuit, the endless, relentless pursuit of wanting more and doing more. At the end of 2018, bought 15 houses in my first 9 months, did a couple more afterwards. So it was very rapid. It was very painful, very stressful. I've just had enough, like I said, I did it so quickly and so intensely that I've just had enough of dealing with idiots, doing this slow process to get what could be argued as a small return. I want to work with people. I want to have a business that isn't property, that gives me a different set of problems and challenges, So when you're pursuing things that are deeper, it's easier to then be grateful for things that are deeper and overall have a, I think, more clearer picture of the world. I think for me.
Welcome to another episode of the Diaries of Success. First of all, I want to thank you all because how valuable you have been as listeners throughout the whole episodes. And today I've had an amazing guest with me. This guy is a ball of energy. He's amazing wherever he goes. He's got a bit of an attitude. He loves dancing. Wherever he goes, he expects to hit the dance floor. But before I tell you who my guest is, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click on that subscribe button. And I want you to tell me, who do you want to see next? As a matter of fact, my guest today is someone who you have requested. So without any further ado, I'm glad and honored to be having Mr. Tej Singh with me, aka Tej Talks.
Hello, greetings. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Tej, do you like the yellow?
I do like the yellow. It's muted. It's a more subtle yellow, but I fuck with it.
I've tried my best. It's the effort.
To be fair, not everyone owns bright yellow, and I get why. So
why yellow? Let's jump into it. Why yellow?
Yeah. So you know what? It was as simple as I was wearing a yellow t-shirt, looked in the mirror and said, that works with your skin tone, boy. You need to keep that shit going. And then I was like, okay, yeah, this is a really nice color. I was in a room full of like networking people, right? Property stuff. And property people are not the most creative with their interiors, with their design, with their fashion, with anything. But even generally, I looked around and I thought everyone is wearing navy or black, or maybe grey. And right now, if we go to any room, any employer, any office, what is everyone wearing? Navy, black, grey, give or take, maybe some white. And I thought, hold on a minute, like if my brand colour, if my thing is one of these colours or a normal colour, when I go in a room, I blend in, I'm just another person. But if it's something bright, something crazy, something actually quite positive, like the colour psychology behind it, I just thought if you look on a room, you're going to say, flipping egg, and you're going to stop. And I thought, like, I should do things in my brand, in my business to make my life easier. You know what I mean? Like, so if wearing yellow and having yellow as a brand makes my life easier, which it has, which I'm sure we'll get to, then I'm going to wear it. And to be fair, to this day, I still, in the rooms, I still look around and generally see the same colours.
Beautiful. You know what? Actually, I've been asked this question quite a lot. Wherever I go to any networking event, I am wearing a color that's different from everybody. It's either pink, I wear that quite a lot, bright blue, or anything that's really, really attractive. And someone that's asked me, do you do it on purpose? I'm like, yeah. Because if I'm introducing myself to you, and if I tell you it's the girl in the pink jacket, and I'm writing to you, and it's like, oh yeah, just contact me. I've had someone say, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's very interesting. Write to me and tell me it's the girl in the bright jacket. I'm like, it's
works.
Easy.
It works. It makes your life easier.
And it makes everyone remember you because you just told them who you are, right? So I totally agree. And I love the yellow as well. So well done for doing that. It's visibility.
Thank you. It works.
So what is it that you do, Tej? Who's Tej?
Yeah, so I'm a property investor, property developer, although I'm sort of moving out of that being my main thing. I've done it since the end of 2018, bought 15 houses in my first 9 months, did a couple more afterwards. So it was very rapid. It was very painful, very stressful. But it got me where I am today, and it's created the lifestyle that I live today. So I am still a property developer, technically. I will always buy property. It just makes sense as an asset. However, what I'm doing now is looking to buy businesses of any, well, not of any kind, but of certain kinds. I'm a public speaker. I'm an author. I've got 2 books on Amazon, both in property. I do mentoring and education, and I just have fun, really.
And you do a lot of dancing as well.
I do a lot of dancing. Yeah, when the music is right. If the music's not right, I get very irritated, and I can't. I just leave. This is not for me. I'll see you guys later. Good night.
Well, the last event you've been to, you've hit the dance floor just like crazy.
Listen, Savoys know that. I think that's the only reason they invite me, just to get the party started, and then they're like, yeah. Otherwise, he just comes here, doesn't do anything, eats all the food, dances, and then leaves, and then he goes out again afterwards. And I'm like,
And an
"Alright,
after party and an after party.
There's always an after party. Like with me, yeah, because you know what? Maybe you're similar. Like when you work from home and you work alone in your own business,
Yeah.
it is kind of you and like my wife, but like it's me every day in the screen. So when I go out, I go out. I don't plan on coming home until like my mum or grandma calls me and says, "Listen, what's going on?" Or my wife says, "I've just woken up. You're not here." When I go out once a month, it's to go out. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't stop. So that's where, yes, I'm a ball of energy. It's like, yeah, that whole month of working and everything is in that night, in that day.
Do you know, I can relate. And because we don't have a set hours that we work, right? We're constantly on top of our businesses, and I completely relate. But whenever there is a good music, good DJ, call us in.
Listen, I'm there for that.
We're on top of our businesses. This is what we're talking about now. Has that affected your personal life?
You know what? No. I've never, and all of my friends, if you ask them this question, they will say, they might say no, but they're lying. But they would say yes. And a lot of entrepreneurs that you hear on these podcasts, they say yes, right? They say, yeah, because, I was too constantly working, and then like my kids, and they got neglected, or my partner, or this. It hasn't happened for me, because from day one, I've never put work on a pedestal, and I've never said, my business is everything. I want to be Bill Gates. I want to be a billionaire. I want to be this. Like, it's not something I've like thought about, and it's never been a goal of mine. And because I've always thought, right, on my deathbed, am I going to say either of these two things? Am I going to say, shit, I wish I worked some more, those late nights, I wish I was alone on my computer typing shit? Or am I going to say, I wish I spent more time with my wife. I wish I spent more time with my friends. I wish I did more podcasts. I'm going to 100% say this one. Like, and all the people who think they're going to say the work one, I really don't think they are. I think it's, if you say that on your deathbed, then I don't know. I think maybe you're missing something. So I've just never rated money and a job and a business as being like the thing. So because of that, I've always had a balance, because it's never been like if my wife says, because she's studying her PhD, like, I'm free. I've got a gap like in between studying. Should we watch like Mandalorian or like something? I'll be like, but even if I'm like, you know what, I've got stuff to do. I'd be like, yeah, go on. And yeah, that does mean that, like, say my friend who doesn't do that, I'm going to be 3 hours behind them, right? In terms of like where we're getting in life. But I'm also 3 hours happier. Maybe, I'm not saying that they're not. So it's never got in the way. And my personal life has never got in the way of work, in my opinion, either. Again, there's some people who would say, well, it definitely has, because you could have done this. It's just been a balance. And I think having understanding people, whether it's family, friends, partner, whatever, and the fact that property gives me passive income, that's definitely been a factor. Yeah, it's just never affected it. Like, it might have affected me mentally. Like, I've had breakdowns in property, and it may have affected my health. But it's never affected what I would call like my personal life. I've always, if a family member was in hospital, or I had to, I'm there, I'm gone. There's work. What's work? I'm gone. So yeah, I think I have a really good balance. In my opinion, probably weighted more towards life than work.
I'm just thinking about whether health, because that has affected your personal health, is not part of your personal life.
Yeah, I class it as its own thing, because it's so massive. So for me, personal life is like relationships, happiness, and I suppose health I think health overlaps it. But for me, health is an entirely different topic. Like, I could talk about that and on its own thing, I think. That's why I think for me it overlaps, but health is so important to me that I do class it separately. Because I could have a tricky personal life but have good health, but also I could have neither. And so yeah, they are like interlinked, and you can't really detach them. But when I talk about them, I do detach them because of the importance I hold to each one.
Yeah, health is very important, because without health, you wouldn't have none of the rest, right? No, like, without money and you still have health, you can still make it.
Yeah, of course. Still be happy. Yeah.
But the other way around, it doesn't work like that.
Nope.
But the aim of our podcast is to make sure that people who are listening to us know that we are human beings as well. And just tapping into that is very important. So thank you very much for sharing that with us.
Of course.
As human beings, we tend to only show the best that we were doing, right? Like our stories are all about our achievements, what we have done, what we could achieve, like all the best and our qualities. Look at me, look at me. We don't do it intentionally, but this is
Oh, I think some
technically-
people do it intentionally. I think the majority of people do it intentionally
Yeah.
because they're faking, they're lying. All the social media, 90% is a lie. Everything people put in their stories are lies. Oh, I bought this property and I did a refurb. It was so easy. You're a fucking liar.
Nah, yeah.
Oh, I did this business and it only took, X many years. You're lying. Like, I think most of it is a lie. And also it's a lie on purpose because, like, tell me something. If I borrowed my friend's Lamborghini, borrowed my friend's Rolex, I wear a Fitbit normally. I don't know what the hell it is. And I took some pictures and I also I've got a bunch of cash in my house from like wedding cash. Okay, now spread that on the table, a couple chains. If I sort of take pictures of that, go have some smashed avocado for breakfast, I'm in these cool places. After a month of posting that sort of lifestyle content, the Lamborghini, the whatever, I promise you, I money back guarantee promise you that I would double my income. Say in my case, from my education and mentoring. I guarantee you, it's a fact. So therefore, I should lie. If I want to make more money, I should lie. And that's why people do it. But I don't because I don't care about the result of it. I can't go on there and say, like, you know what I mean? Like when
That's not you.
Yeah, in fact, when I'm in my friend's Lamborghini, I just criticize it for being plasticky and an Audi. So if anything, don't let me in your Lamborghini because I'm going to tell you what it really is. So do you know what I mean? It's hard. I get why people lie. Like I get it. It's like people commit crimes. Yeah, because actually it's easier to commit crimes sometimes depending on your situation. So yeah, I get it.
Money attracts money.
100% does. I mean, look, I was thinking about this earlier. You and I, if you told me you have a £10 million property portfolio, you live in Chelsea, all this stuff, how can I actually check? There's no way.
There's no way that's true.
Okay, company's house, I could look at the charges, but it could be in your personal name. So I don't know. Like, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So the only way I know is by looking at you, looking at your car keys, looking at your bling, so that's why I get it, because again, we could have a deep conversation, yeah. I could get to know you, but I still don't know if you're rich or not, because all you have to do is say, yeah, I earned 100 grand last month, and all I have to say is, okay, fuck knows. So how do we judge people? It's on what we see, because that's who we are, and our brain likes association, and it likes quick. It likes, okay, that's a 22 plate Audi, money. Although we both know we can lease that for 800 quid a month. It's still not cheap.
Not less.
Yeah, it's still not cheap, but that's the only way you and I can assess each other and someone else.
Or maybe just rent it for the day.
Exactly, which is what a lot of people on Instagram do. Like, rent it for the day, take shitloads of pictures, you bring different outfits, standard,
Yeah.
and you've got content for a year. And, like, how can anyone question it? Okay, they see you actually on road in your Nissan Micra, and they say, oh, look at you. You say, oh, this is my courtesy cars and my mum's. There's just...
My business car.
Yeah, I think really places like Company's House should actually show a lot more and be a lot more transparent. I don't know why they're not, because that would probably be a really good way to check on people. Maybe in the future there will be a way, some biometric chip that has your income in, and you can say, oh, you earn this much. Okay, well, let me test you. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think yeah, there should be more checks. But it will eliminate all the rookie doers out there, and it will be an amazing way to tell these are the people who are actually verified in this industry. Yeah, I like that. I like that. When we're showing what we have and all that. We don't really show the struggle. I know you do sometimes.
I show struggle all the time.
So what are the struggles that there is in this business?
Yeah, so I think in any business, and in the business of life, there are a lot of struggles. I think one of the bigger struggles is ourselves. It's our mindset. It's our, are we... I think as an entrepreneur, the biggest thing, let's talk about is motivation and discipline. When you have a job, you better be there at 9 a.m. or else you're basically getting fired if you do it too many times. When you're self-employed, like you said, we don't have set hours. So actually, that means if I want to start at 11, I will. I mean, and I will. But that also means that maybe I just won't start. Maybe, like having that actual motivation, discipline to keep going, especially at the start when you're like you suck. You start any business, you're rubbish at it. And like, of course you are because you don't know what you're doing, and you're not making that many sales. You're not getting that much engagement. That's just life. Dealing with that is very, very tricky, especially when it's your first business because you don't know. Like now, I have had businesses. I know that okay, there's that period, and then it's all good if I do what I'm doing. If I didn't have that, I'd have no flipping idea. There's no boss, there's no manager saying to you, yeah, hit those targets and you get a pay rise. I think another one is like, I suppose it falls into like mental health of balancing what you said earlier, the work and life. Understanding as an entrepreneur that you're always going to want more, you're always going to reinvest, you're always going to want the next thing. You always think, okay, I'm a million turnover, let me get 10 million. And it's like balancing that with, well, hold on. And this is what TED Talks is becoming. It's called being better. It's like, how do you balance that with, but actually, I'm content. I've got kids, I've got a cat, got a house. We good. But actually, no, I still want more. And like, how do you actually balance that? Is probably one of the most philosophically important questions ever. And I think that in itself is a challenge. I'm working with idiots. Like, people say, what do you do? When you asked me, I should have said I work with idiots all the time. In property, like especially with builders, especially, and now when I'm trying to buy businesses, the brokers who are like estate agents, but oh my God, people, if you think estate agents are bad, meet business brokers, atrocious. Dealing with them, oh my God, they're just idiots. And so, you have this constant thing of like, I'm trying to do business, I'm trying to get shit done. You're valuing a business at 10x, it's worth 2x. Like, and then, I think it's having the patience to deal with that and also to deal with uncomfortable situations and places you may not want to be, So there's a lot of challenges, and that's only a few of them.
You know what? I'm just laughing my heart out. They have to deal with a lot of people like that. And especially in property, oh my God. My worst nightmare is deal sources.
Oh my God, they're so bad. So bad. I just can't.
It's someone who just goes on Gumtree or go on Rightmove or go whatever and think that they know now the business. They give you an analysis that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense, right? And then they tell you the profit is going to be minus X. And I'm like, have you done your research at all? Or just put in Excel sheet. The Excel did everything.
Of course.
So expecting me to lose money on this deal. And they're like, I don't know. No. Let me just do it again and send it to you. You never hear from them again.
Of course. Or they suddenly find some comparables that are, 20 grand more. And you're like, yeah, to be fair, that's a good point. I don't like deal sources. Most of them are rubbish. But I get it. It's a stepping stone. So most people who do it are not in it for career. They're not buying. Like they're doing it. Okay, let me get some cash. Let me get some experience. And then I'll buy property. No one really says, I'm going to be a deal sourcer forever. And it's my business.
Yeah.
They just don't.
No. I know so many people they have sourced thousands of properties, but that's not through just themselves. Maybe through mentoring, they mentor other people how to do deal sourcing, and when they do deal sourcing, they count that as part of.
Everyone likes to add extra numbers in, yeah.
And then they say, "Oh, I've deal sourced this property." Gosh. Anyways, you mentioned content. How do you feel being content is important?
Because we're humans, we're capable of a lot. We have the cognition of humans, most of us. You can't expect a cat to open up a business and become the next prime minister. They haven't got the cognition for that. It's not how it works. But we do. We can go to space. We can go to the deepest depths in the ocean. We can do so much. We also kill each other over oil and things like that in religion. We can do so much with what we're given. I think it's offensive and not grateful to your family, to your ancestors, to the oxygen you breathe, to not be wanting to better yourself, to not be wanting to do better. But at the same time, it's also toxic and dangerous to be such on a path of that, especially if it relates to materialistic goods, and to not then be content with what you have. You have to be grateful that I have shoes, I have clothes, I'm warm, I can drive, I have a roof on my head. I live in a country that, although the government is pretty fucked, it's really not as bad as some other countries. I'm in a place where we have some free speech, and in some places they really don't at all. And I think you have to balance that contentment and that acceptance and that gratitude of what we have and what you could have sometimes with the pursuit, the endless, relentless pursuit of wanting more and doing more. And I think the easiest way to balance that is when you are wanting more and you're on that pursuit. If that pursuit is for materialistic things, i.e., I want this turnover because I want to show my mates that I'm making money, or I got a Ferrari 458, now I want a 488, now I want the Enzo. It's like, yeah, but okay, are you a car guy? Are you into it? Is it, no, just because, like, okay. I really need to think, like, what is the deep motivation behind wanting that thing? Because if it's shallow, it's not going to last that long. If it's, oh, I just want more money, okay, why? It's not going to last that long, and you're going to pursue this hedonistic, materialistic thing, and you're not going to be grateful for this. Whereas if you're pursuing something deeper, something with more fulfillment, and by the way, that could be a car. It could be a what? If you're into cars, or I'm into cars, for me, it's not about showing off or doing this. It's because I actually appreciate the engineering, and I like the sound and what it does for me, the feeling it gives you, the visceral feeling. So when you're pursuing things that are deeper, it's easier to then be grateful for things that are deeper and overall have a, I think, more clearer picture of the world instead of just chasing the shiny stuff. So I think for me, that's how we can balance it, and that's why it's important.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And according to this, what do you feel, or how do you see success? Because our show is called Diaries of Success, which means everyone's journey of success is completely different to another. So the way you see success, the way I see success, the way other people see success is completely different to another. So how do you define that?
Good question. Every guest will have a different answer, right? So I think for me, it's underlined by health. So for me, success is being as healthy as you can in your situation. If I have genetic mutations that mean that I have a certain thing that I can't fight, I mean within that. So being healthy underlines this. And that, what do I mean by health? Sleeping enough, eating correctly, exercising, having a certain muscle mass. Like, again, there's different opinions on this, but as humans, I think we should be in the best shape we can. You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't be average. We shouldn't be, oh, I'm carrying a bit of weight. Don't carry it. Like, we should, and I'm not perfect in saying that, but I'm aiming for that, to say that we should be at the top of our game. Because at the end of the day, the healthier we are, the longer we're going to live, the happier we're going to live. And I think that there's data to support this, we're increasing our lifespan, but we're not increasing our health span. So I think health for me is just the underline of success, because it takes hard work to be healthy. Like, you can walk out of here, go KFC, other places are available, spend £5 and you be full. And that's that. And you keep doing that. You don't exercise because, I like watching Netflix. It's very easy to be unhealthy. But you go to the thing, you got to buy broccoli, which isn't cheap, yeah? Veg is expensive. You got to cook it. You got to, and veg doesn't taste that great, let's be honest, compared to KFC or a burger. So for me, the first success is in health. Like, I don't care how rich you are, how good your business is. If you are not in good shape and you're not healthy internally, because a lot of people are like slim, but they eat crap, and they drink, they smoke, and their organs will be horrible. If you haven't got that health foundation, for me, I don't know, I couldn't see myself successfully if that was the case.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think there's a general, like, I do look at, like, okay, well, how well is the business doing, Like, how happy are my customers? How happy are my tenants? Is rent being paid? Did I create a beautiful interior? Did the person who walked in and bought it say, wow, this is gorgeous? So I look at the soft elements of business, which is that stuff, the emotional stuff, I suppose. And then the hard elements. How much money am I making? Is that enough to cover this? Looking like that. And then I also look at, am I happy? Are my relationships healthy with my wife, with my friends, with my mum, with my dad, with my grandparents?
Yeah.
Am I seeing them enough? Am I happy? Do I feel happy? Am I making enough time for things I love? So for me, success is very... If you're a hard-nosed business person, you'd say, flipping that Tej guy, soft view of success.
Yeah.
And I'd say it probably is, because it's very subjective. Because how can I, if we look at turnover, net profit, that's fine. We put on a spreadsheet facts. One business is better than the other. But really, who's happier here? Who cares? And who knows, right? It's only we know that. So, yeah, for me, the success is a lot more intrinsic and personal than it is like goals.
So this is the reason why you're shifting from a business to another. But before we tap into that, let's play a game because I really like.
Let's do this. I've never played a game on a podcast before, so let's do it.
Beautiful. Okay, so this is a bit of a change for you. Great. So our guests all get to play games. The reason being is we want to show on our podcast that we are human beings. That we're not just working all the time, and we do
definitely
have
not,
fun.
yeah.
So the game of the day is called Would You Rather?
Yep, I've memories of Would You Rather, where from university when everyone was drunk, and I don't drink, so I've got memories of this game. So hopefully this is less, yeah,
Less intense, definitely
hopefully
less
less
intense.
intense.
So the aim of this game is to make sure that we show our audience that we're human beings. We're having fun alongside running our businesses, and we also make sure we bring you the best and the best of the guests. I mean, you can see from today's guest, right? Honestly, everyone who comes into this podcast has been amazing, and from some selfish reasons, I bring the guests I can also learn from, and I'm sure you're going to get as much value as I am getting. So without, any requests, please do give us a subscribe. Follow us on all our channels. If you're listening to us from the podcast channels, we are on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on all of them. Make sure you give us a follow on to the other social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok. Yes, we are on TikTok. We don't do the dances though, but we are on TikTok. So without any further ado, let's get into the game.
Hit me.
Tej, so would you rather be singing or dancing?
Oh, I seem to do both all the time. I would rather be dancing because I can't sing. Simple as that. And dancing is good exercise, and I can't stop myself sometimes.
We saw that. You know what? I'm gonna put a small video of you
Do your
dancing
Do
into
your
the
thing. There's enough clips. Don't worry.
£1 million on 1 million followers.
Ooh, you know what? If it was a year or two ago, I would have probably said 1 million followers because of the money you could make from that. But I'm gonna say £1 million because as a business, I'd rather have £1 million and do business stuff with it that maybe wasn't on socials or was on socials than 1 million followers. Now I know with 1 million followers I could make £1 million, but with £1 million I know I can make 10.
So beautiful. We're gonna come back to some of the of the questions. Punjabi music, trap songs,
I don't really listen to trap music, so Punjabi music.
all the way. Property or buying businesses.
Because buying businesses is new to me, and I'm yet to sort of see the fruits of my labor and actually, kind of get to the profit part of it because it's still early days. I'm gonna say property. I'm also gonna say for most people who are starting, and for the ease, it's not easy, but for the fact that it's an asset, whereas a business is an asset, but it's different to property. Property's quite safe. I'm gonna say property.
Cool. Being rich or happy.
Being happy.
Pizza or pasta.
It's molto difficile. Non lo so. This is a really tough one because I love both. I cook both. And Italian food is just like my favorite and it's the best. I'm going to say pasta because there is more variety in pasta. So if I had to pick one for life, it would be pasta. Now, if anyone comments and says, but pizza has lots of variety, no, it fucking doesn't. If you have proper Italian Napoli pizza, there's certain varieties and certain things you put on it, not like pineapple. Yeah. So actually, pasta has, and then you got lasagna, so there's lots of protein in that. Oh, I could do with some pasta.
Are you thinking out loud?
I'm thinking out loud. It would be pasta, but I do love pizza a lot. Now I can't stop thinking about food. You should have asked this at the end. But yes, pasta.
Chris is laughing in the background.
I'm literally just imagining it. Oh, I might have some pasta when I go home.
Gosh. Okay. Can't stop myself from laughing. Do it yourself or do it for you, or do it for you. DIY, DFY.
I used to be DIY, and there are a lot of tasks where I'm still like DIY, but like definitely do it for me and definitely outsource it, because if I'm not good at it and it's time consuming, I'd rather pay my VA, £4 or £5 to do a task that they're probably better at me than doing. They're so much more proficient at it. And it means that, okay, if I'm paying them, £10 an hour, whatever it is, I can be over here making £300 an hour, doing something else in my business, right? Depending on what your hourly rate is. So the net profit or net loss is a lot higher when you outsource. At the start, though, people, you're going to have to do it yourself, unless you've got lots of money.
Great. And one last one, podcasting or mentoring? Because I know you're a podcaster and you're a mentor.
You know what? I prefer podcasting, especially being interviewed, because I can talk freely. With a mentee, I'm often shouting at them, why haven't you done what you're supposed to do? There's a sense of responsibility, which is not an issue. But with mentoring, it is, you're teaching, it is quite exhausting, especially if they're not performing at the level you want. And especially if they're not understanding things, which happens, it's fine. But podcasting is just more of a, I don't class this as work. I'm not working right now. We're just chilling, we're chatting. So definitely podcasting. I do love mentoring, I do love teaching. But podcasting is it's just so much fun.
Beautiful. Okay, well, look, I know you answered these amazingly. You've been thinking out loud quite a lot. But we need to tap into some of them. So we're going to come back to that. So you've mentioned, I know you did explain why £1 million and not 1 million followers. So why did you think that a couple of years ago having 1 million followers would be better?
I think social media was a different landscape then. I think people's profiles are more believable then. There were less fake followers. There was influencer marketing was way bigger back then, in the sense that if I had 1 million followers back then and I launched something, did something, it would be picked up a lot more and go a lot further.
Right.
I think now it still exists, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot harder work. And I think people have less faith in certain types of influencers and certain types of followings. So I appreciate 1 million is big, but I think also the pressures and the mental health that can come with having 1 million followers. I met one of the guys of Love Island Design Property at an event, and I was asking him all sorts of stuff about having this many followers and being in the public eye, and he was like, yeah, look, there's benefits, wink wink, but there's also a lot of shit that comes with it. And I think there's a lot of pressure to keep making content, to keep doing this. Whereas with £1 million, if I found whatever business is, yeah, of course, I can use social media, I can use advertising, but there's just less pressure to be a brand and to be in the eyes, which I've done it for so long, it's fine. But with £1 million, I just know, and now that I'm buying businesses, I also know, flipping heck, what I could do with that money and what it can get me income-wise. And in stocks and shares, when I look at my portfolios, I just think £1 million now is £1 million now is a lot more. If you said 10 million followers and £1 million, I'd probably pick 10 million followers, because there's a giant leap in perception and difference there. Because that 10 million's I don't know, but this super, super, top. I don't know how many Ronaldo has 50 million? Kylie Jenner has 30. So, you're talking the top echelons where, yeah, if I post and say, guys, I'm releasing a t-shirt, it's £400, but it's just normal cotton. I'm about to sell all of them worldwide. Whereas with £1 million, it's not going to happen. So it's very rational and logical, my process.
Fair enough. What do you classify as influencer? Because we're just talking now about influencers, and I think the idea of being an influencer varies. And there's so many people, even if they have 2 followers, they call themselves official on something. Honestly, they add the official kind of thing. So what do you think an influencer should be?
An influencer, by the very definition in the English language, is someone who influences things, right? So anyone who has any influence, and usually you do need a certain level of following, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
You need millions, but you need a certain level of following to have an influence. However, if I influence you, am I an influencer? Technically, in the English language, I suppose I am, but I don't think we'd class it like that. So for me, it's someone who has a positive influence on people, on social changes, social justice, but that's not the case. An influencer is someone with lots of followers who does nothing but makes money off the content, right? And off through promotions and brand promotions and having their own brands. For me, that's what an influencer is, right? They don't necessarily have a job or a business, but their job or business is sometimes their body, sometimes their face, sometimes their exercises. They go gym and show you. You know, it's like it's their content basically is what makes an influencer nowadays. So I think there's some real influencers who do elicit change and do things, you know, but then there's influencers who just they're fit and that's it. And then they get likes and then they get money and the world's shallow.
OnlyFans?
I haven't got one yet. Should I?
Oh, we should ask the audience maybe.
Yeah, I'll still should have an OnlyFans.
You know what? I'm going to do a poll.
Put it up on the screen, people. Do it. OnlyFans is great though because what it's done is kind of decentralized, kind of like what crypto's done for the world, although what's happening now, decentralized the kind of creator economy in like the adult industry. Because previously it was like, you know, from what I understand, it was like big production houses. It was very, what's the word? Not say dodgy, but it was just a bit sort of, you know, you had to go through this or do, it was very corporate, I suppose. But now anyone can create content and get paid from it. And some of these girls are making money. I'm talking every day buying a new lamp, like money. And I say hats off to you, you know? Don't take anything else off while we're here. But like hats off because like to be able to do that. Okay, look, there's a whole ethical discussion about the adult industry and, you know, perception and things like that. But at the end of the day, like, do your thing, man. Like, you're making money. It works. You're not having a boss. You're not having someone looking over you. You're, you know, I mean, well done to them, right? I suppose it's like Instagram. Instagram has decentralized advertising and marketing because I can make money without paying a single penny, whereas 10 years ago I'd have to go in a newspaper, go in a radio, stand in there, have a billboard. So I'm all for decentralizing because these corporations, they monopolize and they have too much control.
Totally agree. Thank you. You said property because you're more used to it now than buying businesses. We're gonna tap into that in a while. I don't agree with the pizza and pasta, but hey, that's a discussion for another time.
Listen, we'll be here for hours, so it is.
But pineapple on pizza?
No.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, we agree on that.
If it's an American pizza, which is just a slobbery of... Look, they taste good. They taste good. Which is just a slobbery of fat and salt, which is what Americans are made of. Tell me I'm wrong. Look at the stats. Then, look, I fuck with pineapple. I do, because it's sweet and salty, so I get it. It's like peanut butter in a burger. I get it. I fuck with it. If you go to Italy and say that, I hope they hang you in the village. I hope they do, because you just don't do that, right?
Yeah.
Pizza in Italy, and especially when it's pizza Veracci, which is from Napoli, the proper pizza is a few things, and it's a specific flour, it's specific time. Like, it's an art. There's books on it. Like, that you can't disrespect. It is what it is, and I love how passionate Italians are about pizza and about food, because if you tell them something like that, you're going to get slapped up. And I think you should.
Hopefully.
You know, and you need to respect, I guess there's food evolution, all that stuff. But like, you just have to respect that when things have been done for hundreds of years, like, they probably work, and just let it be. Like, if you put pineapple on an Italian pizza, I think it would taste weird. On an American one, yeah, fine. It's all just, it's all E numbers anyway. It's fine.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, we agree on that one. Definitely.
I'm just very like, when it comes to food, I'm very like, if you ain't doing it properly, don't do it at all.
Beautiful. You said do it yourself at the beginning. Obviously, you have to have skin in the game. Learn that what you're doing it yourself. I'm a big advocate of that. I personally, when I started my journey in property, I was assembling wardrobes myself. I was doing the beds myself. At some point, I find myself doing a bit of cleaning. But it did teach me that, you know, this is how it's done. This is how you should be doing it. This is how much effort you're putting into it. This is how much it might cost you. If I get an engineer and he tells me, oh, I'm going to paint the house, it's going to take me 2 weeks. I'm like, hold on a second. I might have not done the best of jobs, but it didn't take me 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I know exactly, you know, how things are. So yes, I totally agree with the DIY. And then, but obviously you can't do it all the way if you want to scale. If you want to increase the level of your productivity, you have to get through from a DIY to probably a DWY, done with you.
Yeah.
At the beginning, and then get to a DFY. There's a lot of letters there.
There's a lot. You put some subtitles for that.
So from do it yourself to done with you to done for you. What's your say on that? You have a team. You have
Yeah, like all my like social media stuff is outsourced, editing's outsourced. I don't, yeah, my copywriting is sort of getting there. It's hard to find good copywriters. When it comes to property business, a lot of it is outsourced, my maintenance, things like that. Moving forward, the purchases, refurbs are going to be pretty heavily outsourced. I'm not getting involved. When I buy a business, depending on which sector it's in and my interest in it, I will run it actively, but my VAs, my team, we're gonna outsource it because it just makes sense. Like I said, the net gain, it's like with a painter. A painter decorator's hourly rate could be £15 an hour. If your hourly rate is £100 an hour, right? And that's what you get paid for mentoring. That's what, you just worked it out. Why are you £100 an hour doing a £15 an hour job? Then the net gain there is 85 quid. So
Yeah.
actually, go do some more mentoring sessions, make £100 an hour and pay them to do it. They're going to be better than you.
yeah.
I get sometimes they're not, and it's easy just, oh, you know what, you're pissing me off, I'll just do it. But to scale, like you said, you can't do it yourself. Do we think that Elon Musk is in his factory? I mean, he probably is. He sleeps on the floor there, but is he in his factory assembling components? No. Is Jeff Bezos in his factory? He's definitely not. By the way he treats people. Like there's just to scale, you have to outsource.
I personally, I think I've outsourced all the tasks at the beginning. I was a little bit too much into my business. I love it. It's my baby.
Of course.
It got to a point where I was thinking I don't want to let it go, and I can't trust anyone and everyone with my business. But then it got to a point where I was actually breaking down. And I needed to say, or I needed to take a decision to stop doing it. And once I've done that, I started doing everything in my life, like the same thing. Like now, my whole life, even my personal life, turns around outsourcing things. There are things that I'm not gonna stop, like cooking. I love to cook, so I'm still gonna do that. But doing the cleaning, doing a lot of like bits and bots here and there. I can get someone to do it for me.
Of course.
While I'm in my house, I'm on my laptop, they're doing what they need to do. I have someone who comes every week to do 2 hours or 3 hours things. I'm still doing the little bits and pieces here and there, of course, but I have someone who does those chores because I realized if I spend 4 hours doing my cleaning, I'd rather pay someone, as you said, 12, 15 pounds to do it, and I'm on my laptop doing the mentoring or preparing for the next podcast or preparing for the next my speaking on stages. I'd rather do that. So
100%.
Totally agree. And I think our audience need to learn to start outsourcing. There's a huge money to be made just from outsourcing things.
100%.
And even if they're as little as,
Yeah, of course. You got to
personal
start
trust.
small and then grow it.
Absolutely. Cool. The next one, you said, I'm not going to ask about Punjabi music. Definitely not. You said happy, then rich. Elaborate.
There's nothing to elaborate on. You could be rich. And in that question in particular, they're opposites, right? So if you're rich in that situation, you're not happy. If you're happy, you're not rich.
Do you think so?
That's the way it's asked.
Can
It's
you
one
not
or
be
the other.
happy and rich?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You didn't give me a choice, though. You gave me a binary choice. So, in that scenario, if a gun to my head, I had to pick one and I couldn't have the other, it'll be happiness because the rich, having the money wouldn't make me happy inherently. And if I couldn't have the happiness because in that situation, then, like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm happy, the rest of it, of course it matters, right? Of course it matters. We like nice things. I like nice,
Yeah.
But if I'm happy, nothing else matters, does it?
True. So now you're starting in new venture. I think you're buying businesses. You're mentoring other people on how to run a successful business. Do you know what? I think that property is a sector of businesses.
Yeah.
But if you just manage to be successful in property, doesn't mean you're successful in any other business.
Of course, yeah.
But if you're successful in any business, that means you definitely can be successful in property as well.
Oh, yeah.
So why are you choosing to change? Are you bored of property?
Yeah, I am bored of property. It's so archaic. Land reg are slow. Solicitors are slow. Builders are just scumbags. I mean, there's just so much. Like, I've just had enough. Like I said, I did it so quickly and so intensely that I've just had enough of dealing with idiots, doing this slow process to get what could be argued as a small return. I want to work with people. I want to have a business that isn't property that gives me a different set of problems and challenges, you know? So for me, yeah, it is kind of getting bored of it. Look, it's a great asset. Like I said, I'll buy it forever. I'll keep buying it. You know, that's always going to happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, doing it daily, being in the business, working on it, I just can't do it anymore. So, you know, moving to kind of buying businesses and focusing more on the mentoring stuff is I've got so much experience in property and business. I had a recruitment business before. Let me transfer this to people, right? And at the same time, was buying businesses. Look, I could start one up and I will at some point again, start another business, sure. When you buy a business and you get a good deal, you get a good deal. Like, you know, some of the things I'm buying or looking to buy, you know, it's incredible the amount of money you're putting in, how much you're getting out versus if you did it as a startup. And there's pros and cons, but it's just a nice way to kind of get a head start. And because of property, I've got all these investors who are happy to fund my deals that actually, you know, I'm not going to put any money down when I'm buying a business. So it's even better in that sense.
So are you teaching people on how to raise finance, how to do investment?
So my education is everything: raising finance, building a brand. I'm just launching a course on building a brand. Like, it's going to be so many hours on it, and on property. You know, doing BR, doing flips, and then the mentoring is property, business, and branding usually. And you know, mindset gets touched on it. Things like health
Obviously,
gets touched on it. But yeah.
Yeah, you did mention health and wealth. So it's all about how to actually run a successful business from scratch.
Yeah, we can talk about that. You know, most people so far are focused on property just because my brand's been on property. But obviously, as I transition into Being Better, which is a new brand, and like TED Talks Being Better.
Is it called Being Better?
Yeah, it's called Being Better because it's about being better, but also about being. So being present and being a human being. So it's a bit of a like play on words there. As I move into that, there will be more business stuff. Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, what do you think our audience can learn from you?
Depends. What do they want to learn? What do your audience request the most?
My audience want to know about Tej, how Tej made it, and what keeps him motivated to be where he wants to be.
So I'll start with the second one, which is what keeps you motivated. What keeps you motivated is so motivation versus discipline, right? There's a discussion to be had there because motivation is it's 5 a.m. Come on, Tej, let's go gym. You know, come on, I want to look good. That's motivation. Discipline is it's 5 a.m. What the fuck am I still in bed? Get up. There's discipline, and discipline is more military, I suppose. So for me, what keeps me going is discipline. What's the time? What's the day? How old am I? What should I be doing? Do it. Simple, like gym is discipline. There's motivation as well, but it's like, okay, it's 6 a.m. Tej, sorry, why are you not lying on a bench lifting? What are you doing? Get up bed. And I think for me, the motivation, the why is, at least with property, was to get passive income so that I can just do this all day and do what I want to do, right? You know, was there a why like, oh, for my kid or for the... No, not really, because I haven't got one. But it was kind of like, I want to just be comfortable enough that I can live my life. That I can go to events like Savoy's we went to and be out. I got home at 5 a.m. that day. And the next day I woke up at midday, 1 or something. Did I feel bad?
No.
Oh, shit. No, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Apart from my wife saying, oh, you got in at 5 a.m., did you? Oh, thanks for waking me up at 5 a.m.
And unless D Ludlow is gonna
I was like, oh, blame D, it's his fault. It was just keep, you know what it's like.
5 a.m.
Exactly. You know, that's what motivates me, is just to be able to enjoy those things and stay up late talking to friends and be out and just to have fun and have full enjoyment and not feel guilty or worry or be like, oh, my boss is calling, can we cut the lunch short? Like when people say, yo, let's go for lunch, I'm like, my whole diary's blocked out for the afternoon. So for me, it's just to be able to live a life where I can do that. But then also when I work and I want to work and I'm passionate about it and I do it. I have a really not easy sense of achievement, but for me, it's like, it's very simple. Say you've got this floor, right? Say you say, Tej, you need to clean the floor. Okay. In my head, I divide it into 12 squares. And every square that I do, I'm like, yeah, tick, done. It's so, like when I was painting my house, I did a wall. It was like, yeah, boom, next. Like for me, numbers, and not necessarily with a pound in front of it, just numbers and this mini sense of achievement does so much for my brain. It gamifies it.
Yeah.
That motivates me on a daily basis. I'm like, okay, it's midday. I was meant to do 10 calls. I've done 4. Wicked.
Beautiful.
40% done. Where And then how did Tej make it? I mean, that, I suppose, is how I made it, by having that attitude. Now, this attitude isn't going to work for everyone, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't. Do your thing. I made it because of hard work, because of, and this is going to sound privileged, but not complaining. And I appreciate some people do have things to complain about. Staying healthy where possible, looking after my mental health, having some therapy when needed to look after my mental health, which a lot of people don't talk about or are scared of. But you'll go get a PT, a physical trainer. Why don't we do something up here? Because without this, we've got nothing. Having a good network, people on podcasts say, "Oh, Tej, have you ever had people sort of hating and, how your old friends being like, oh, you don't do that, just get a job." Never,
Really?
never. Maybe because I filter it out.
Maybe because you attract only the good ones.
Yeah, maybe that. Maybe they just know, like, don't even bother telling him nothing because he ain't gonna listen if it's negative. But even my mom, never have they they've been like, okay, how are you gonna do it? Tell me the process. But I cannot remember even meeting someone at a networking event where someone said, "Nah, you'll never do that." Maybe it's because I'm so bullshit that they're just like, "Fuck, I don't want to say anything to him because he'll bite my head off," which I probably will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just never had, which I'm blessed. I'm so grateful to have that. But that's how I made it, really, a combination of me, but also, let's not forget, and if you read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, he explains it so well. I am a combination of my factors. I was born on a certain day of a certain time. I'm a certain height. I'm a certain skin color. I speak a certain way. I'm born in England. I was born in summer. I'm a Gemini. There's so many things that are out of my control that have also added to that. And we all have our own stories that are out of our control to add to that. So, yeah, a big combination of a lot of things, really.
Beautiful, beautiful. Has there been a moment in your life where you have actually doubted yourself?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
No. When I started my recruitment business, I had no experience, no networking, it, nothing. And I did it and just said, I'm going to make money if I follow the steps and I'm not a dickhead. And, I do what I need to. I follow the steps. I put in the work. Surely I'll make money. Maybe this was naivety. It worked. Made money. Kept going. Made more money. Kept going. In property, yeah, okay, there'll be times of doubt, even to this day, where I analyze a deal and I'm like, there's that, right? But that's protective. That's not like, I think, what you're asking. Have I ever had self-doubt to the extent where I'm like, oh, can I do this? Can I raise this? Can I public speak? No. And you know why? And people always say to me, Tej, why, like, how are you such a good public speaker? And I say, look, I can give you the spiel about talking really fast sometimes and then slowing it down and talking quietly so people lean in and listen to you, and then going up a bit and, having your chest out and doing all these techniques. I can tell you that. It's fine. But the real thing that underlines all of this is the fact that I don't give a fuck. Simple as that. When you don't care, you have the confidence to say whatever and do whatever. I'm not saying I'm like Piers Morgan walking around here, fucking being offensive and stuff.
Yeah.
Or like Andrew Tate or something like that. But I just don't care. So for me, how can I doubt myself when I just don't care about the outcome necessarily? Now, this sounds really flippant. Of course I care about the outcome. I've come here and I want to give your audience a good podcast. I care. I care that if someone's upset, I want to help them. I care about what I put in my body. But I just don't care about people's judgment and people's sort of opinions unless they're qualified to do so. And even then, I'm like, it's not that deep. Am I breathing? Yes. Am I alive? Am I as healthy as I can be? Yeah. Am I loved? Do I love? Yeah. Do I love myself? Yeah. What else matters? You know what I mean? So because
Absolutely.
of that, I don't doubt myself, because if it doesn't go well, who cares? If it goes well, who cares? I'm good. Either way, like,
Thank you so much. Any
thanks for having me.
positive notes to our audience before we wrap up? You know what? I'm just loving this, and I can't believe how quick time's gone.
What
It's
can I
been an
say?
hour. It's crazy.
Listen, you called, I answered, I came to deliver.
Well, you know what? I wanted you here, but the audience did request you to come on the podcast.
Well,
I did a
thank you,
poll,
thank you.
and I said, "Who do you want to see next?" And they were like, "Tej Talks."
And Shaz introduced us as well, which was good at the event. So
Yeah.
big up, where's Shaz? So I think what I'll end with, and this is a quote from Shakespeare. So big up Shakespeare. Some of you may know him. He actually is copying Stoic philosophy, but I think he says it really well, which is good because he was a writer. Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. What that means is nothing carries sentiment. Nothing has an emotion attached to it. We attach an emotion to it. We make it good or bad. How we perceive it is everything. We perceive it good or bad. It's not good or bad inherently. And another one by the Stoics was, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Oh, what if they don't like me? What if I don't do really well? What if the business fails? But in real life, that shit doesn't happen.
To be fair, I was a victim of that. I've been doing a lot of things under the radar just because I was not sure what other people were going to think about me. I'm a female. I had all these thoughts. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe the way I speak is not going to be good to some. I had so many bullshit thoughts in my head, and none of them really mattered. And I got to about 45 properties in a portfolio that I was managing without anyone knowing about me. And if I see everyone now who is doing things, they get one property and they're like, yeah, I'm a guru. And I'm sitting there and hold on a second. Why am I not? So I totally agree. It's the way you perceive things, the way we think about them. If we want to get in touch with you, Tej, obviously you're all over social media, Yellow Things, Tej Talks. But how do we get to learn from you, to know you more, to reach out to you if we want to invest, if we want to do what you're doing? So
yeah, look, like you said, I'm everywhere. Tej Talks into Google. I should come up on everything. But the quickest and easiest place to reach me and to see what I'm about and what I'm doing and to follow me is Instagram. So tej.talks. There's a few fakes, but you'll know the real one because I post stories and So give me a follow.
The one I follow.
Yeah, there we go.
So for our audience who is listening to us on podcast platforms, it's tej.talks, tej.talks, and that's across all the platforms, really.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being my guest. And I'm glad and honored.
Me too.